It is one of the most magnificent stadiums in the world. They've come tonight to witness the much-awaited debut of the highest-paid player in football. Hoping to spoil it all is a team from 45 minutes down the highway. It is Hamilton versus Toronto at Skydome in Week 2 of the CFL on CBC. The Toronto Argonauts provide an endless list of stories. One of them a superstar who travels in style but who has yet to play. Last week, a muscle pull reduced Rocket Ismail to the role of spectator. Now he's fit, and we are minutes away from the rocket launch. Then there's Mike Clements. The pinball is a proven CFL star. He takes the slightest opening, the narrowest of gaps, and turns them into major gains. Not to be overlooked is a flamboyant quarterback. Also an established star, Matt Dunnigan runs an explosive offense. The Hamilton Tiger Cats aren't nearly as big a story, which may have been just fine with David Beckman when his team faltered in the season opener. Todd Dillon had little success as Hamilton's starting quarterback. He won the job from Mike Kerrigan in training camp, and Kerrigan will watch Dillon start again tonight. There are Ticats who'd love to steal this show from the Rocket. Derek McAdoo is one. And Rico Cartwright, himself a proficient kick returner, who turned a few heads in Hamilton last Saturday, is another. The new owners of the Toronto Argonauts have been telling fans in this part of the country the Skydome is the place to be when the Argonauts are at home, and that would appear to be the case tonight, as it seems everybody who is anybody is at the Skydome. There are the owners, Bruce McNall, John Candy, and in the center of the picture, Wayne Gretzky. They'll take part in the pregame festivities along with Jim Belushi. Dan Aykroyd is here, Jeff Healey. It seems the list goes on. The lineup goes something like this: a movie star to entertain at halftime, a recording artist to sing the national anthem, and in between all of that, yes, folks, there is a football game at Skydome tonight, not without its star quality, as we finally get a chance to see just how good Rocket Ismail is. And standing by in the broadcast booth now to describe the proceedings as Toronto engages Hamilton are Don Whitman and Joe Galat.
Thanks, Scott. Hi, everybody. Well, the much-publicized countdown to the rocket launch continues. And Joe Galat, is there any way that this Notre Dame star can live up to all the hype and all the publicity?
I don't think there's any way he can live up to that, because he's not as big as John Candy. He can't skate like Wayne Gretzky, but he's got great football skill. This is the pros. He has to play against people who shave, have children. It's going to be tough.
It will be a new experience for the Rocket. His first game in Canadian football, his first game of professional football. Adam Rita, the coach, said tonight he anticipates that the Rocket will handle the ball perhaps 10 times, and he looks for him to put the ball in the end zone, maybe even 3 times. The Hamilton Tiger Cats would dearly love to put the football in the end zone 3 times. They only put it in the end zone once last week against Winnipeg, and that was on a punt return. Todd Dillon is the starting quarterback. Are you surprised that he's directing the attack for the second game in a row?
Really surprised that Todd Dillon beat out of Mike Kerrigan. Mike Kerrigan won the Grey Cup, and he's an experienced guy. Todd Dillon has had a good preseason, and that's why he's there.
Well, the coach, David Beckman, told us that Todd Dillon was the better quarterback at training camp, and thus he earned the start last week, and he starts again tonight against the Toronto Argonauts. Now, let's rejoin Scott O.
Well, Don, on the field and off this season, there should be nothing ordinary about the Argonauts, and that should apply to the performance of tonight's national anthem, because standing by to sing it right now is Jeff Healey. We'll get to it in just a moment. First, we want to tell you what's coming up on Live at the Half at Skydome tonight. Rocket Ismail goes through his launch this evening, but the pinball, I suppose, will just keep on bouncing off tacklers as he's done with distinction for the past 2 seasons in the CFL. Michael Clemens will be with me live on the sidelines on Live at the Half. I said there'd be a star performing at halftime. He is Dan Aykroyd, who will assume the role of Elwood Glover, and he'll be performing with the Blues Brothers Band tonight. There he is, getting ready for the rocket launch. Number 25, Rocket Ismail, as Don mentioned. We're waiting to see if he can possibly live up to all the billing, all the hype that he has brought with him from Notre Dame into the CFL. And now we're all set for the national anthem with Jeff Healey.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise and join BMG recording artists, the Jeff Healey Band, in the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all our sons' command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
A 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey! Oh no, it's got that air thing. No shoes. Oh no, it's stop.
This is ridiculous. I'm an athlete, not an actor. Where's that music coming from? You know I don't have time for this.
But I do. Hit it.
Yeah! Wait, no, it's got that air thing.
The CFL on CBC. Brought to you by Sport OV, real life beer. By GMC Truck. And by Diet 7-Up. Challenge your taste.
Welcome back to the Sky Dome. They have just performed the ceremonial kickoff. All three owners of the Argos, John Candy, Bruce McNall, and Wayne Gretzky, had a ball on a kicking tee, and all three performed the official opening kickoff. Paul Osbaldiston getting set to start the game. He indicated he would be kicking the ball to the Rocket. He said, I know what Clemens can do. Let's find out what the Rocket can do. And we'll find out as he takes the ball at the 10. Still on his feet. Ernie Schremeyer finally made the tackle at the 23-yard line, a 13-yard run back after a 65-yard kickoff.
We saw both skill and we saw some men trying to get him. They wanted to make a tackle on him, and look at the gang tackling here. We got to slow up, got him lassoed.
Matt Dunnigan starts at quarterback, an impressive debut against Ottawa, completing 23 of 36 attempts for 325 yards. He swings it out to the pinball. He will have a gain of 9. Todd Wiseman from his safety position came over to make the stop on Mike Clemens, who had 261 all-purpose yards last week against Ottawa. Quite a debut for the pinball. Tuanao Alapate, who last year was with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, came over to make the tackle.
Mike Clemens is a good receiver. He can do it all when Matt Dunnigan delivers the ball to him, but watch for Darrell Smith.
Kelly, the ball carrier for the first down, out to the 39-yard line, and it will be 1st and 10 as Grover Covington came over to make the tackle.
Grover Covington just made that last tackle, and he's the active guy up front. They're going to have a good game out of Peter Gustopoulos, and Gary Wilkerson at the corner is going to have to hold up against some really good wide receivers.
Not the least of whom will be the Rocket. He is not out there for this offensive set. He will be alternating at that wideout position with Trumaine Johnson and Jeff Boyd. The handoff to Keith Kelly, and Pete Giftopoulos from his middle linebacking position came over to make the tackle and limit the gain to about 8 yards. Kelly had a big hole, and it looked like he might go for much more, but Giftopoulos, who has been moved to the middle this year from outside, came over to make the tackle. Chris Schultz and Bob Skemp were leading the way.
You see, Peter has a tough time at the middle linebacker position coming over to Phil. Good up front blocking. The big guys are doing a good job.
On second down, Kelly again, and Kelly will be very close to the 50. Peter Giftopoulos, the middleman, again made the stop.
That's what they want to do. Matt Dunnigan, if he can start out with the running game, he can control them up front, and he has good pass protection if they're thinking run.
Dunnigan indicated that when the Rocket is in the lineup, he would have to change his drop because of the speed of the Rocket. He did not feel he could take his normal 5-step drop. He tried to flip that one out to Clemens, and Giftopoulos, who seems to be all over the place making tackles, was over there to bring down the pinball after a gain of about 3 yards.
Well, that's got to make Peter happy. He came up and made a great tackle. That's what they want to do. They want to get good, solid front-on tackles because every one of the receivers at Toronto can make yardage after they catch the ball, and they've got them spread out all over the field.
The Rocket has still not been in on this series as Matt Dunnigan throws for Jeff Boyd for a first down at the 33. Wilkerson made the tackle. Boyd was the leading Argo receiver in game 1, 7 receptions. Matt Dunnigan took a hit as he threw that football, and he limps to the Argo huddle, but he is going to stay in there.
Matt Dunnigan's a competitor, and he takes a lot of hits. He has a terrible time when he hits the turf here. He gets back up, shows what he's got. He's made out of the right thing, and perfect pass route, perfect timing on the route.
A gain of 25 yards. It is 1st and 10. The ball is at the 33. Dunnigan's pass for Boyd, and he could not hang on in front of Wilkinson. It was a high throw. Mark Dennis hit quarterback Matt Dunnigan just as he released that football.
Well, that had to hurt Matt because he was really looking for Boyd to come underneath the clearing route. As he stepped back, he looked for Boyd, didn't have the time to do it. Mark Dennis is right in on him, and Hamilton promised they would do that. They're going to play the receivers tight. They're going to get good pass rush out of their blitzing.
Matt Dunnigan is now heading off to the sidelines, and Ricky Foggy will come in to play quarterback.
Matt looks a little woozy as he's going off. You can sort of tell the way he's walking that he took a good shot. I don't know where he's hurt. It looks like he's got a little bit of a chest pain, but you never know where he's hurt on a play like that. Don't think it's any of the extremities, so he might have had the wind knocked out of him, or he might be just a little bit dizzy. In either event, you've got a good, solid football player, Ricky Foggy, over there.
Ricky Foggy came in replacing Dunnigan last week against Ottawa when Dunnigan was poked in the eye. Dunnigan was out for a couple of series, and Dunnigan will have to go out for at least 3 plays. Now, he appeared to be favoring his right leg on 2 plays back when there didn't appear to be any heavy contact with him, but he may have pulled something as he attempted to avoid contact. He stayed in for the last play, but now has opted to head to the sidelines.
How would you like to be addressing the ball as a golfer, and any time during or after the swing you get hit by any one of 5 250-pounders? It would affect your swing. That's what happened to Matt Dunnigan. He was concentrating on delivering the ball. I think it may be the bad knee that he had suffered from last year.
At any rate, Ricky Foggy comes in. It is 2nd and 10. The University of Minnesota product directing the attack, as he did for much of last season when Dunnigan was injured. Clemens makes the catch down at the 10-yard line. Dunnigan or Foggy, they don't seem to lose a beat with that arsenal of offensive weapons.
Foggy shows great touch. What Ricky's trying to do is to dump it in over the receiver's head. This is a very difficult pass to throw. He puts it perfectly in the position to complete the ball. What a great throw. Nice catch.
Trumaine Johnson lines up wide to the right. It's 1st and 10 from the 11-yard line. For Boyd in the end zone, incomplete. He was being covered by Wilkerson. The fans down in that corner thought that Wilkerson had perhaps interfered with Boyd, screening him, but there was no flag.
They wanted face guarding, and that is not face guarding. As long as the quarterback throws that football, the defensive back, the corner, can play the receiver man to man. So there's nothing involved in face masking. You have to have your hands in his face to have face masking. Any other part of the body is not face masking.
Obviously, Pinball can do more than catch and run as he threw a block on Dennis. This is an end zone pass intercepted by Terry Wright. It was intended for Andrew Murray, and Terry Wright went up and made the interception as the Hamilton Ticats snuff out a Toronto Argonaut drive in the end zone.
I want to take a moment to show you one of the most bizarre plays of this young CFL season. Second quarter last night in Edmonton, the Gizmo, Henry Williams, found a lane, took off on a certain touchdown, but hold everything. Well, the Giz couldn't hold it as it turned out. The ball popped inexplicably loose at the 5-yard line. Sean Foodie picked it up and ran it back to midfield for Ottawa. Gizmo tried to blame this whole thing on his new shoulder pads, but no matter, the Eskimos still managed to beat Ottawa 40-33 despite that gaffe by the Gizmo, who in the first quarter had returned a punt for a touchdown. But that was an awful mistake that the Eskimos survived last night, Don.
Yes, and they got an opportunity late in the game to win it. And a Jim Sandusky touchdown gave them a 40-33 victory. Todd Dillon on the first play, throwing for Earl Winfield. Incomplete. Reggie Pleasant was running with Winfield in the lineup for the first time. He had a hip pointer at training camp.
Well, Todd Dillon is certainly a key to this offense of Hamilton. And Derek McAdoo, their fine running back, is somebody that they're going to want to get the ball, keep things loose, and then give the ball to McAdoo. But Rico Cartwright has 4.2 speed in the 40, and he can move.
Well, the Hamilton coaching staff feel that in Cartwright they do have an individual who can match the speed of the Rocket. That remains to be seen. Dillon will put it in the air, and it is incomplete. That's one of the problems that he is going to have, according to those who watched him in training camp. He has the speed, but he has to be able to catch the football, and Dave Beckman feels that might take some time, and he will have to be patient with Cartwright.
Well, it's going the way Dave Beckman said it would go. They're going to be a tough football team, and he's putting a lot of stock into Paulus Balduson in the kicking game to help him out of this hole.
Clemens is back. The Rocket has moved up to the line of scrimmage. They may try to utilize his speed and try and get him through to block this punt. Osbaldiston gets the kick away, and this chases Clemens back to his own 30-yard line. I don't think the Argos really anticipated seeing the Rocket lining up at the line of scrimmage, but Coach Adam Rita attempted to utilize his speed on a possible block on that punt, certainly make Hamilton aware that he would be coming from that left side. Clemens on the return was limited to a 5-yard run back after that 53-yard kick, and Ricky Foggy continues at quarterback.
Well, Ricky Foggy's got the tools out there. He's got great speed at the wide receiver positions. He'll flank out the running backs. They'll go with 6 receivers this time.
Ismail is in there as a wideout. Will they run the streak pattern? Don't be surprised if they do. Well, Foggy is going to run the football, and Foggy is stopped by Corus Irvin as he attempted to go around the right side. The Rocket was flying down the left side of the field, and Gary Wilkerson was trying to keep pace with him.
I didn't see them hit the Rocket like they said they were going to, and I think they're going to change up with him. They'll do some rotation into that wide side of the field and try to double cover on him.
Well, something that Hamilton said they would do is try and bump the Rocket at the line of scrimmage, throw him off his pass routes. This time he lines up on the right side against Irvin. Second down play, and the give is to Kelly. Keith Kelly will be close to a first down. He had to get to about the 48.5-yard line, and it appears he's close enough. Jones made the tackle. Matt Dunnigan rests at that Toronto Argonaut bench. We have had no word as to the extent of the injury.
It looks like he's got an ice pack on his leg, and a lower leg, incidentally. So knowing Matt, he'll be back in the lineup.
Third and less than a yard. Foggy will likely keep. He gets the first down out to the 51-yard line. 6:50 is the time remaining in the opening quarter. It's still scoreless. Let's join Scotto.
All right, Don, I just had a word with Matt Dunnigan. The problem is that on the first or second offensive play of the game, he felt something pop in his left calf. He thinks he's pulled something. It's got ice on it right now, as you can see, but his best guess is it will not get any better over the course of the next 3 hours, and so he could be done for the night. Disappointed over it because he felt that early in the game the Ticat defense was giving him a lot. He felt that he was in for a big night.
And he was looking forward to the debut of the Rocket. And so are the fans as the Rocket can't hang on to the throw down at the 25-yard line as Todd Wiseman from his safety position came over to help out cornerback Corus Irvin, who was defending against Ismail.
Well, the Rocket can run. There's no question. Look at the smooth athlete that he is. But the first time he went out for a pass pattern at Notre Dame, it was a touchdown. This time it was a wake-up. I think he got rocked pretty good on that one. The Rocket got rocked.
Todd Wiseman, initially a draft choice of the BC Lions in 1987, now with the Ticats, making the play from his safety position on 2nd and 10. Foggy being chased and caught. No, he gets away from Alapate. And he'll convert this into a first down. It appeared as though Alapate, from his inside linebacking position, had caught up with Ricky Foggy and was going to drop him right at the line of scrimmage, but he broke away.
Well, the end of this play is more significant than anything, but you've got the wide receivers spreading people out, running them off downfield. Ricky Foggy is a running back when he tucks the ball away. He's had 100-yard rushing games very commonly, but Hamilton puts a good lick on him here. Ricky's slow to get up. It looked like he twisted his knee on the tackle.
Todd Wiseman was the last man in, and Wiseman put a pretty good lick on Ricky Foggy, and he was just a little slow in getting to his feet, but he is going to remain in there for the Toronto Argonauts. They certainly don't want to see Foggy going down, losing Matt Dunnigan, the starter, early in this opening quarter. It's still scoreless here at the Sky Dome. It's 1st and 10. The Argos are at the 48 of the Hamilton Ticats. From the short punt formation, all sorts of movement at the line of scrimmage.
Foggy tried to do the audible. He wanted to get the receiver to pick up. Actually, what he was going to do is pick up the blitz. He thought he had something on the wide outs, but when you have a backup quarterback in there, they're not used to his voice.
Schultz and Ferrone both seem to move.
Timer number 69, still first down.
And Ferrone is called for the illegal procedure. It will be 1st and 15. The ball moves back to the 53-yard line. Ismail comes left. Boyd goes wide to the right, again from that short punt formation. Foggy for Smith. He's wide open. First down at the 30.
Darrell K. Smith from Central State, he knows how to run a route. Watch Darrell sell the receiver on his pass route. He sold him to the inside, did a swim technique, and broke back to the outside before the safety can come over and help out. Well executed play. Got them out of the hole on 1st and 15.
He was the leading receiver for the Argos a year ago. Tied a league record with 20 touchdown receptions. Had a touchdown in the season opener in that 35-18 victory over the Ottawa Roughriders. 1st and 10. The draw play with Clements. He loses the football. He was fortunate that he got it back at the 29-yard line. Ramel Andros and Mark Dennis were there to make the tackle.
That seems to be the problem with the backs that have that great ability, the wide angle ability. Clements has great movement, but what he does oftentimes, he's pumping the arms, and when he pumps the arms, that ball isn't secure on the points. Consequently, he put it on the ground, just like he did last week. He had quite a few fumbles last week. Fortunately, he has the athletic ability to recover his own fumbles.
3:54 remains in this opening quarter. Let's bring in Scott O.
Well, Don, here is part of the money behind the Toronto Argonauts. The great one needs no introduction. I know you're a sports fan, but how does it feel when you have money on the line? Serious money.
Well, I think we're all excited about the night, and I think that we're all excited about the future. You know, Mr. McNall has really put a lot of time and effort, not to mention money, into making and hoping this works. And I'm just excited to be part of it, and I'm happy to be here.
Like the Rockets so far?
Yeah, you know, everybody's a little nervous, and obviously they're covering a little tough right now. But, you know, once he gets his feet wet and once he gets going, I know what it's like to be nervous.
When's the last time you had skates on as you get ready for the Canada Cup?
Well, probably the last time I had skates on when we lost to Edmonton. But I'm not one to skate much in the offseason, but I'll be ready for the Canada Cup.
Thanks for your time, Wayne. Enjoy the rest of the game.
All right, thank you very much, Scott.
Back to you, Don.
John Ray Baker is the injured Hamilton player being assisted to the sidelines. Jeff Croonan will take his spot on the defensive line. John Moten has moved into a linebacking position, replacing Tuanao Alapate. They anticipated about 40,000 would be in attendance for tonight's game. As of this morning, they had sold 35,000 tickets. The marketing people didn't anticipate any miracles for the opening game. They felt that the turnaround of the Argo fortunes at the box office would take time. If they got over 35,000, they felt it would be a fine start to their home season.
Looks like over 40,000, and I think the biggest play of the game so far was the kickoff. 3 celebrities out to kick the ball, and the crowd really enjoyed that.
All 3 owners participated in that opening kickoff, as we mentioned, and they remain on the sidelines watching the action. And it does appear as though there could be in excess of 40,000 at the Sky Dome for tonight's game. Obviously, they would like, and the Canadian Football League would like, to see all the seats filled for every home game the Argos play. Second and 7. Foggy with time. Now he's under pressure. Gets the pass away to Smith. Smith laterals it off, but the whistle had gone. The play was ruled dead at the 25-yard line.
Skemp was saying, thank God the whistle blew, because he was, you know, linemen hate to run. Offensive linemen just don't want to run. And Bob Skemp was out there, and he was the most surprised guy. Pretty good pressure on the quarterback here. Ricky Foggy is in the grass, but they don't have that rule in Canada. And watch Ricky throw the ball alertly to Darrell Kay. Darrell Kay alertly throws the ball to Bob Skemp, and he said, hey, I don't want it. They don't like to run that far. They like to run about 5 yards and block somebody.
It's going to be short of a first down by that much, with 3:08 remaining in this opening quarter. And there's little doubt that the Argos will go after it. Ricky Foggy taking over from Matt Dunnigan, who was injured early in this opening quarter. It's still scoreless, Hamilton and Toronto. Last year, Toronto won all 3 games by rather lopsided margins, 41-29, 39-16, and 60-39. That 60-39 game was the coaching debut in the CFL of David Beckman, who replaced Al Bruno after the Ticats had lost 6 games in a row.
You see them spread everybody out. Ricky Foggy just takes the wedge and the quarterback sneak, but he's looking over the defense and seeing how they defend the receivers that are spread out. I wouldn't be surprised on a short yardage to see him go for a big play.
Although they haven't scored in this opening quarter, it's been all Toronto. 8 first downs. Their initial drive snuffed out by an end zone interception by Terry Wright. Here's pressure from the backside, picked up. The pass to the end zone. Stopped at the 1-yard line. The pinball could not bounce in. He tried to get away. John Moten was over defending against him, and he was stopped at the 1.
What Ricky Foggy sees is that he's got a great quarterback, a great receiver in Clements, and as Clements bent through the outside, he broke away from the receiver just in time. Nice delivery by Foggy, low and away from the defender.
First and goal, and Foggy dives in. Penalty flag on the play. And Unless the penalty is against the Argos, they are first on the scoreboard here at the Skydome. And it's a penalty against Hamilton, so the touchdown stands as Ricky Foggy gets the first of the season here at the Skydome.
Well, Hamilton only had 2 plays and out, and it's been Toronto all the way. Toronto has had a good drive, and it was snuffed out by the interception. The nice thing about Toronto is that they've got a backup quarterback like Ricky Foggy to go in there and to throw to a guy like Darrell K. Smith.
Not to mention Pinball Clemens, the Rocket, Jeff Boyd, Andrew Murray. What an array of talent Argo quarterbacks have to throw to. Lance Tromick adds the point after, and with 1:35 remaining in the quarter, the Argos lead 7-0. We'll be back with the Toronto kickoff after this. Although big plays excite the fans, Joe, from a coaching standpoint, I think this is what they like to see. A good drive, 11 plays, 72 yards.
That's exactly right, Don. Hamilton hasn't got the ball. They've had the ball only 2 plays, and Toronto has just been dominating the game and hitting those seam patterns.
McAdoo on the kickoff return, and a swarming Toronto defense brings them down. The ball pops loose, and the Argos have recovered. So the Argos, leading by 7, recover the fumble on the kickoff, and they'll get a chance to add to their 7-0 lead. Chris Gaines, who played at Vanderbilt and joined the Argos as a free agent in September of 1989, appeared to cause that fumble as he comes in on Derek McAdoo, and may have got his helmet on that football as he brought McAdoo down. At any rate, it was a fumble, and the Argos recover. They have totally dominated this opening quarter. Although they've only scored once, they had another touchdown drive wiped out by an end zone interception by Terry Wright. But now it is 1st and 10. The ball is at the 28. Jermaine Johnson is wide right. Ismail on the left side. Foggy over the middle. Darrell Smith. Touchdown. Well, this offense established a league record last year with 689 points. They have the tools to better that total this season.
The thing that gives Ricky Foggy the ability to run the football and the ability to throw the football, that gives Ricky Foggy that dynamic problem for the defense. Darrell K. Smith, one of his favorite receivers, but Ricky was looking for Ismail. Turned, found Darrell K. beating his man Jackson over the middle, and there it was. It was just delivered right on time.
Lance Chomick with the point after, and with 1:10 remaining as Darrell K. Smith celebrates in this opening quarter. It's 14-0 Toronto. And if what we've seen so far in this opening quarter continues, that's going to be one extremely tired group of defensive players wearing the black and gold of David Beckman's Hamilton Ticats.
Darrell K. Smith has that long, rangy ability, and he's deceptive in his route. He uses a weave route. The defenders never know where he's going to be, and this time he wasn't anywhere but straight down the field and made a nice reception. Excellent concentration on the football. Ricky Foggy is one of those guys who can deliver the ball when he sees a receiver open, even in his secondary receiver, which is what it was.
Wally Zatilny watches the kickoff bounce out of bounds, so the Argos will take it 5 yards back and do it again.
Okay, the coach is talking now about what to do against man coverage. What they're going to see is A lot of man coverage, it looks like, so that they can get some extra pressure. They're going to try to send the backers and cover with the defensive backs. Dave Beckman said they were going to hit him hard. Adam Rita said, you're going to have to catch us to hit us, and that's what he's telling them right now. 6 receivers spread out. The running backs actually are receivers. Ricky Foggy looked for the Rocket. Beckman has had what he wanted in the first quarter. He got the interception. He bent, but he didn't break on defense. Now they've broken the game open with the fumble recovery on the kickoff that set up that last touchdown. Beckman knows that they've got to get things going now. They've got to get down and get a score to stay in this ball game.
This time, Melissa kicks off from the 30-yard line. Cartwright takes the ball. And Cartwright is surrounded back at the 26. Well, neither of the speedsters, Ismail or Cartwright, have had enough room to demonstrate their running ability so far in the game. A 12-yard run back after that 66-yard kickoff, and it must seem like an eternity for Todd Dillon since he was last on the field.
Well, the pressure's on Todd. He's only had 2 plays in the first quarter. He'd like to get his running game going. He'd like to do some possession passing, some quick outs, and maybe a fade if they roll up on him.
Well, the Ticats use 2 Americans at those running back positions. McAdoo, who has the ball, and Herman Hurd. And this is a gain of about 6 yards. From Hurd, they are looking for an improvement in his blocking skills. They feel he runs well, but has to improve as a blocker.
Sanderson is trying to block Holloman out of the play. Does a good job of just turning him. He takes Holloman the way he wants to go, and that opened up a hole.
2nd and 4. Dillon throws to the sidelines. Hurd makes the catch, and that will be a first down. They spot the ball at the 39.
That's what they'd like to do. They'd like to keep things working downfield. That's important for Hamilton to get a drive going. That's a big first down for them because they're answering the challenge.
That's the initial first down of the game for the Hamilton Ticats. This is only their 2nd possession of this opening quarter. 10 seconds remaining. Hurd the ball carrier, and his advance will be limited to about 3 yards by Mike Campbell. And that should be the end of the opening quarter here at the Sky Dome.
Well, David Beckman said that's not enough. 3 yards isn't enough on first down. They need to get 6, 7, 8 yards. That puts the defense on defense. Then whatever the offense does, they can run, they can pass. They have a challenge. But Ricky Foggy now knows what he wants. He's telling Dunnigan, hey, I got the man coverage. I picked it up. I looked around the field, saw what I had.
Apparently time for still one more play before the first quarter comes to a conclusion. Todd Dillon trying to dump it off over the middle. There are penalty flags. Rocky DiPietro was the target, and it could be that Carl Brazeley interfered with the veteran slot back, and it may be a pass interference call.
They saw the blitz coming. Todd Dillon knew what he had to do, and he loves to get Rocky DiPietro as tight end when they have a blitz, and they had the halfback blitz coming up. He delivered the ball, but unfortunately he was hit on the arm and the ball went away.
Forward pass interference. Toronto number 7. First down.
Carl Brazeley is called for the forward pass interference. The quarter cannot end on a penalty, so it will be a first down. The ball is at the 52. Just to the right of the frame, you see the interference, Carl Brazeley on Rocky DiPietro.
Just a little bit, though.
Dillon steps up into the pocket. He'll run it. Campbell makes the tackle at the 51 of the Toronto Argonauts. And there are no penalty flags, and that is the end of the opening quarter, with Toronto comfortably ahead by 14. Well, that opening quarter didn't go the way David Beckman had planned. His theory was, coming into the game, that the Ticats had to keep the ball out of Matt Dunnigan's hands. Well, they kept it out of Dunnigan's hands. He was injured, but Ricky Foggy did quite a job. And that was a broken play as Todd Dillon was looking for Herman Hurd. And there was some confusion with the rookie running back, and Ryan Warren was there to make sure that Dillon wasn't going anywhere. 12:34, the time of possession. That pretty much tells the story of that opening quarter. And look at the stats as they favor the Argos, leading 14-0.
And the bad news isn't over for Hamilton yet. If this ball isn't close to the sideline, Michael Clements will have some room.
Again, here comes the rocket. He was looking to block it, and Osbaldiston got it away just in time. Good downfield tackling by the Ticats as they surround Michael Clemens back at the 14-yard line. That time a 37-yard kick. Todd Dillon appears to have injured his wrist as he is being examined at the Hamilton bench. So it could be that both starting quarterbacks are going to be on the bench. If he's hurt and can't continue, coming into the ball game will be Mike Kerrigan. This was the Rocket lining up on the line of scrimmage, trying to get through to block this Osbaldiston punt, and Ken Avrere just threw him off his intended route.
Well, that's a $6 million man on the suicide squad.
Ismail lines up wide right. Foggy's going that way. He has to wait for the crowd and makes the catch, and listen to the roar of the crowd. The Rockets' mother, Fatima, enjoying his first reception in the Canadian Football League as that takes the ball to the 52.
There's a smooth athlete going downfield. He said, hey, this is what I like to do. Don't let me block any more kicks. Let me do this.
And the crowd reacted to his initial reception in the CFL. This time it's Darrell K. Smith out at the 36. Terry Wright made the tackle, but another first down.
The value of having Rocket out there, they like to roll the coverage, and what that does, it opens the umbrella for Darrell K. Smith and for Andrew Murray, the inside receivers.
Coach Adam Rita says they have a certain package designed for the Rocket. If he stays in all the time, it limits the Toronto offense.
Yeah, they just run him straight down the field and throw the ball to him. Pretty limited, but pretty effective.
Ricky Foggy will run the football to the 12.
Well, that's the Canadian football game at its best. Cover the receivers, do a good job of pass rush, but that extra guy, that quarterback that is a running back, what a great play that was by Ricky Foggy. Saw the receivers covered, had pressure, just put the ball down and took off. You know what Ricky Foggy is? He's a gym rat. He never goes home at night. He loves to work out at the stadium. He is the kind of guy that is an athlete because he's worked so hard at it, and he's in great shape year-round.
6 times last year he ran for better than 100 yards in a game. That's a 23-yard run for Ricky Foggy. The reverse with Clemens, still on his feet, but finally Alapati and Moulton bring him down back at the 20-yard line.
Well, you can see the frustration by Alapati, Moulton, the Hamilton defense. They've rushed the passer well, at times done a good job at coverage, and then Foggy runs with the football. When there's a seam, Foggy seems to be able to find it. When there isn't any, he's able to run with the ball.
A loss of 6 at 2nd and 16. The Argos have converted 5 of 8 second down opportunities. Movement at the line of scrimmage. Kelly was offside. Kelly jumped the count as the Argos had 3 receivers lined up to the right.
You know, Adam Rita had a good point. He said, the reason that I like this kind of football is that it's fun. He said, I get bored with it.
Procedure. Toronto number 1. Still second down.
Well, Kelly moved, but apparently Darrell Smith did as well. Let's go down to Scotto.
Well, Don Hamilton right now is not ruling out his starting quarterback, but as we speak, Todd Dillon has no motion in his throwing arm. His right arm from the elbow down, the result of a contusion, a deep bruise suffered when he was hit by an Argo with the helmet. I don't expect we'll see him for the rest of this half at least.
2nd and 21. Ricky Foggy on the move again. He got a block from Andrew Murray, but is stopped at the 10-yard line.
Ricky had to wait. When he dropped back, he had a crossing route, which is great against man-to-man coverage. He was waiting for pinball to open up, felt some pressure, and he started to run with the football, and he has been the difference, scrambling. They've done a little better job of coverage, but it hasn't gotten them anything more.
Lance Chomik this season 4 of 4. He will try and maintain his 100% field goal kicking standard. This is his first of the night, and it will be a field goal try of 17 yards. .10:28 remains in this first half as the Argos increase their lead to 17 points. Well, the Argonauts were a pretty loose group at practice yesterday. I think they had all better stick to football. But as Adam Reed has said, the objective is to have some fun. He said it's just a football game. We're not trying to end world hunger.
Well, no wonder they hurt their legs. You know, they look like they've overextended it there a few times. But I'm sure Adam is happy with what's happened because he's been able to get things going when it is a good pass coverage situation. Foggy's taken off and run with the football. So that has to make him happy because they can't cover those receivers forever. 4 seconds maybe, but not forever.
Chomik kicking to Cartwright down at the 5-yard line. He had a 90-yard touchdown return late in the game in the Ticats season opener against Winnipeg, but he is stopped at the 25 by J.P. Izquierdo. That was a 20-yard run back, and Mike Kerrigan will be the Hamilton quarterback replacing the injured Matt Dillon.
Well, Kerrigan wanted a chance to show that he still has it, and he's a good football player. Mike reads defenses really well. I think Dillon probably a little better scrambler, but Kerrigan likes to throw quick.
Kerrigan is more of a rhythm quarterback, and teams defensively often will try and take him out of that rhythm. But once he gets it going, he can be dynamite. Earl Winfield makes the catch for a first down up at the 51-yard line.
Well, Earl's a gamer, and I'm sure that he was anxious to get into this football game. Kerrigan had the time. Good job up front. He delivers the football to Winfield on the bend in. Nice play, nice starting drive.
27 yards on Kerrigan's first pass of the night. He was intercepted twice against Winnipeg last week. He was looking for Kenneth Ware, but the throw was over his head. It will be 2nd and 10.
Nothing wrong with the protection. Sanderson did a good job up front. I think that's key. Sanderson has to be able to keep Hallman out of there. That's an important thing. Kerrigan had the time.
2nd and 10. The ball is at the 52. 9:21 remaining in the half. 17-0. The Argonauts lead. Kerrigan is caught from behind by Warren.
Brian Warren, the rush man. He's the designated wide side rush man, and what they want out of Brian Warren is just what they got. They blitz the backers one-on-one. That's when Warren has to come through and make the play.
Right there, Mikey, right there. Whoa, Mikey, whoa. Mike, whoa.
You can see Brian Warren coming in and just does a great job, extra effort, leaped out and got the ankles of Kerrigan. Probably the problem, Kerrigan not as mobile as Dillon.
They flushed him out of the pocket. Warren made the tackle. Osbaldiston now punting. Clemens is back there, takes the ball at the 30-yard line. They run the reverse with the rocket. But there is a penalty flag. Back at the 30-yard line.
Well, if there was only one, it would have been a face mask, but it looks like there are two flags down, so it could be illegal block. No, it's face mask.
It'll going to stand. It will stand.
Major foul, face mask, Hamilton number 17.
Kenneth Rare is guilty of the face mask call. And with that great return by the Rocket, 78 yards, the ball is now moved to the 2.5. It's 1st and goal.
That was why they were setting it up, having the Rocket rush the punter. That didn't make a lot of sense, but when you can run the reverse back, that made sense, and that's why he was up rushing the punter, so they could set up the reverse. Nice play.
1st and goal. Foggy trying to get in there himself. He was running the option with Clemens. He was caught by Peter Giftopoulos.
No, Ricky didn't like that at all. I think what he wanted to do was to get the pitch on the option play. They played it perfectly. They played both the quarterback and the pitch man. The big hand going up, of course, is for the Rocket on that reverse play. So the fans, they love it. They like that reverse.
Well, they want to see the Rocket touch the football as often as possible. It's 2nd and goal from the 4. Over the head of Boyd, covered by Wilkerson.
Wilkerson did a good job. He had great position on him, and Ricky tried to dump it in, but the sideline got him first.
Gibb last week against the Ottawa Rough Riders could do no more than stand on the sidelines and cheer on his teammates. But he has been fleet of foot tonight on both a reverse on a punt return and as a receiver. So he has made his contribution so far in this game. I think the fans have seen what they had hoped they would. The Lance Chomick field goal out of the hold of Andrew Murray with 7:34 remaining in this first half makes it Toronto 20, Hamilton nothing.
It's been 2-3 minutes since we've had a celebrity on at the Sky Dome, and Super Dave Osborne of Super Dave Osborne Show fame is with us now. Super Dave, do you make as much for the stunts you do in that program as the Rockets making tonight?
No, but I paid $1 a stunt. That's all I want. If I ever complete one, then it's a whole new contract.
And Dave, is there any way that I could get on that show?
Absolutely. We're going to be talking to you at halftime, and we'll see what we're going to do. We're planning a stunt later on in the year when Detroit comes to town. I'm going to be dropped through the roof, and I'll land on Cecil Fielder.
Okay, thanks for your time, Dave. I appreciate it.
How about the run by Ismail?
Something else, eh?
Phenomenal. He's the best.
Well, over in Hamilton, they think they've got a pretty good receiver in Earl Winfield, and he continues to demonstrate his ability to catch the football. He will have a first down up at the 47-yard line, a gain of 13.
Well, Winfield does a good job on Ed Berry. He sells him that he's going to take off up the field, good body lean, and still able to make the break. Harding and Hallman are putting pressure, but they're getting a little bit late because they had a good job up front by Harley and Riley.
1st and 10. Over the head of Lee Knight. Hallman was pressuring quarterback Mike Kerrigan from the backside. That may have forced Kerrigan to hurry that throw. It will be 2nd and 10.
You can see the frustration up front. The Hamilton big guys, they're not very happy with the way things are going. And I know Kerrigan wants to get everybody settled down. He really can't complain about his protection. He's got to stay in the pocket. If he calls that from the line of scrimmage, his pocket pass got to stay in the pocket.
Nurse wide to the left. Winfield lines up to the right. Quickly to Winfield, and he can't hang on. Ed Berry was defending. There's a penalty flag at the line of scrimmage.
A little bit anxious on the defense on the blitz, and I think they got him offsides. Kerrigan's a pro. Got him on the snap count.
Procedure. Hamilton number 23. Decline. 3rd down.
Procedure call against Rocky DiPietro. So the penalty is declined by the Argos, and the punting unit will come out. DiPietro, of course, the all-time leading pass receiver in his CFL career.
What they do this year is if you draw them off sides, that is a penalty. And I think Rocky, using his experience, jerked and tried to draw the defense off sides. They called it against him instead of the defense.
Osbaldiston angles this one out of bounds, and with both the Rocket and Clemens back, to return this kick. The fans react. That's the first time that Ismail is lined up as a punt return man, and they were kind of hoping, I'm sure, here at the Skydome that they would get another opportunity to see the Rocket as a punt returner. But that one was angled out of bounds. There were penalty flags on the play. A lot of pushing and shoving taking place after that ball went out of bounds, and we'll get the call from referee Jake Ireland.
Holding. Shot on number 35 on the return. First down.
Bruce Elliott, who did not play in the season opener, is guilty of the holding call. 6:01 is the time remaining in this first half. The Toronto Argonauts will have the ball at the 40 when we return.
On Live at the Half at Skydome tonight, the CFL's MVP of last year, Pinball Clemens, will join me just before live music fills the stadium. The Blues Brothers Band, led by Elwood Blues. Dan Aykroyd will entertain the crowd here and our audience. Bruce McNall and company doing everything in their power to make the Skydome the in-place to be when the Argos are at home. And Don and Joe will have a first half highlight. Don?
Well, the fans at the Skydome, and it appears as though it's a crowd in the vicinity of 40,000, have been entertained by the Rocket and by Mike Pinball Clemens. Clemens, as we mentioned in the opener against the Ottawa Rough Riders, had 261 all-purpose yards. At that pace, he'd finished the season with over 4,600 yards. Last year, he set the league record of 3,300. I don't think there's anybody who anticipates that he'll get 261 per game. Grover Covington, the all-time CFL sack leader, gets another with help from Tuanao Alapate. You know, it's interesting the number of changes that Hamilton has made defensively. Grover Covington himself has played 164 games for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. All the rest of their defensive players have a combined total of 156 games.
Grover Covington did a good job on the twist, and I'm sure Ricky Foggy isn't very happy with his protection on that play.
That takes the ball back to the 34. 5:09 remaining in this first half. Penalty flag. It may be a time count violation against Toronto. Ricky Foggy was very close to using up all 20 seconds on the clock before launching the play.
Normally in this situation,
Time count violation. Toronto number 14. Still second down.
they're trying to give Rocket some instructions in the huddle, trying to help him out, trying to coach him up as they break the huddle. That took too much time, and Foggy was at the line of scrimmage, and the clock ran out.
Second and 21 now. The ball is back at the 29. Three receivers wide to the left. Foggy won't get a chance to throw. Good pressure by the Ticats. This is something they wanted to do in the ball game, is put some pressure on the Toronto quarterbacks. They anticipated that it would be Matt Dunnigan, but he was injured early in the first quarter, and that time Michelle Jones and Ramel Andrews, with help from Grover Covington, forced Ricky Foggy to the turf back at the 25-yard line.
Well, they bumped the receivers. The plays that were opening up the seam took away the outside receivers now. They went cloud coverage on both sides, which meant the defensive backs came up tight on the wide receivers. Foggy had no time to get rid of the football.
Zatilny and Wiseman are back for this Hank Olisic punt. Lance Traumick kicking the football. And he shanked that one out of bounds at the 53. A 28-yard kick. Now Lance Traumick handled the previous kickoff for the Argos, something that Hank Olisic normally does, and he also punted the ball, so perhaps Olisic has some physical problems.
Well, if Hamilton's going to get back in the football game, they got to do it now. Traumick gave them the opportunity with the short kick. They're at midfield, good field position. They've got to get a drive going and get some points on the board.
First and 10 from the 53. McAdoo, the ball carrier. Good hole, and McAdoo gets inside the 35. Stopped by the safety, Chris Munford.
Well, that was a great job of blocking up front. They opened up the hole, and McAdoo has that spurt. He's got that ability to get through into the secondary at full speed. He did a nice job of breaking off of the free safety as well, and Brazeley came over to make the hit.
20-yard gain, first and 10. The ball is at the 38. 33, excuse me. This is Herman Hurd, but he is going to be stopped right at the line of scrimmage. Campbell and Gaines made the stop. Bruce Elliott is the injured Toronto Argonaut.
This is a big play on this drive. It's a big play for Kerrigan to get this, to convert this first down. He needs about 8 yards to go, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him look for DiPietro coming across.
Kerrigan's pass knocked down. Carl Braisley got his hand up. Herman Hurd was the intended target, but Braisley aborted the throw by Mike Kerrigan.
Carl Braisley is one of those old pros, and I know what Kerrigan's thinking, that he had the receiver. Braisley took it away. What a great jump. Fully extended, knocked the ball out of his hands and saved a big play.
And Hurd, looking back at that pass, took quite a hit from Reggie Pleasant as Carl Braisley knocked it down. Paul Osbaldiston will be attempting a 37-yard field goal. It's good. So with 2:50 remaining in the half, the Hamilton Ticats are finally on the scoreboard. The Argos lead by 17. Well, the Argos have dominated. They lead 20-3. And the time of possession overwhelmingly favors Toronto, and they'll get another opportunity to add to their 17-point lead. And there's a buzz of anticipation as the Rocket takes it at the 15. He tried to accelerate through that opening, but Lee Knight was able to close it just in time after a 29-yard run back.
What they are doing now is just man coverage, letting Rocket find its way. I wouldn't be surprised they'll come back and do a little bit of zone coverage. What they'll do is come back and cross block to open the Rocket. Rocket on this play is just looking for any seam that he can find. You see there's a good block that sprung him through the first part of the secondary, and it's a nice pickup.
1st and 10 from the 43. Handoff to Clemens. Terry Wright stopped his forward advance after about 3 yards, and downfield Wilkerson and Murray do some pushing and shoving, but nothing serious is going to develop out of that altercation.
We're going to see that all night. The wide receivers are going to be bounced around by the defensive backs.
Ismail lines up wide left this time. Boyd to the right. Ismail comes in to replace either Johnson or Boyd. He has taken over from Johnson this time. The pass goes to Boyd. It's incomplete. Deflected by Horace Urban.
Well, Horace was an all-World League of American football player, and he watched the quarterback's eyes. He saw Ricky didn't fool anybody with the play pass, and when he turned to come back, Horace was on top of the ball. Had he gotten both arms up, he might have intercepted it.
Lance Chomick handling both the place kicking and punting chores tonight. We understand that Hank Alisic has pulled a hamstring, so Chomick will also do the punting, and his last was a short one that put the Ticats in scoring position. This one is better. It bounces for Steve Zatilny, and immediately he is caught over on the far side of the field by J.P. Esquerdo.
J.P. has made a lot of hits tonight. We've been hearing his name often, and he's one of those guys that likes to get down under the kicks and not afraid to mix it up.
And there are penalty flags on the play as well. Esquerdo is a player that Adam Rita saw at the University of Calgary when Rita was coaching at UBC. And he felt that there had to be a spot somewhere in the CFL for this young man, and he has found employment with the Toronto Argonauts.
Always a spot for a guy that will give you 100% effort.
Esquerdo, a three-time All-Star in the CIAU.
Toronto number 70. Objectionable conduct. Toronto number 1. First down.
No yards against Hallman and the objectionable conduct against Darrell Smith. So that's a big penalty, taking the ball up to the 52-yard line. Wherever you're looking in this evening on the CBC television network or in the United States on Prime Ticket, we hope you're enjoying the action from Skydome. 2:03 remaining in the half. Toronto leading Hamilton 20-3. A reverse with Cartwright. Darrell Ford, the linebacker, stopped that right at the line of scrimmage. Cartwright didn't have the room to get to the outside and utilize that 4.29 speed, and Darrell Ford cut off any attempts he may have had at going up the middle. Second and 8. Winfield makes the catch. Gets away from Pleasant. He avoids Brazeley, but he can't escape Gwan Wilson, who brings him down at the 27.
Well, that looked like the Rocket, didn't it? Winfield did a good job on the pass route. That's what Beckman said he wanted. Coach Beckman wants a more precise move by the receivers. The ball is delivered. Made one tackler miss, and he's got extra yardage.
A gain of 28. First and 10. Kerrigan over the middle for Hurd. He hangs on. No, they rule incomplete. I have to assume, and we'll probably see it on the replay, that as he was coming down, that ball was loose.
Well, Chris Mumford is what you would call a center fielder. He's the goalie back there, and what he did is knock the ball loose. The goalie saved the goal.
Brazeley pulled the ball away from him just as he was coming down. And it will be second and 10. Munford had a career game against Ottawa last week. 3 interceptions. Rocky DiPietro, touchdown! Penalty flag on the play, back at the line of scrimmage. But the reaction of the Ticats suggests it is against Toronto.
Looks like it might have been roughing the passer. What a big play.
Shot on number 21. Decline. Touchdown.
And the holding call is declined. What a big play by Rocky DiPietro.
Well, that end zone is certainly not unfamiliar territory to Rocky DiPietro. He's been there a few times during his CFL career.
Well, Kerrigan knows what Rocky can do. If he gets the ball anywhere near him, he's going to outfight the man. Good coverage by Brazeley, but Rocky pulled it away from him, made the reception.
The point after by Paul Osbaldiston, 1:07 remaining in the half, and that will give the Hamilton Ticats a big lift heading into the dressing room.
Well, Dave Beckman said this was going to be a street fight, and he knew he didn't have as much skill as Toronto, but he said he was going to be able to get out there and out-tough them. And Rocky DiPietro, interestingly enough, was one of the guys that Beckman talked about that meant the rough, tough guys from Hamilton. You can see what Kerrigan's looking at. He sees single coverage, knows that he's got a reliable receiver to the outside, delivered the ball, and Rocky pulled it in. It's the tough guys against the skill guys tonight.
Well, those 2 penalties on the punt return gave the Ticats excellent field position, and in just 4 plays they moved 58 yards for the major score. And it was the veteran Rocky DiPietro combining with Mike Kerrigan for the touchdown. The Rocket will get another chance to return a kickoff. Lee Knight gets him again, and this is another penalty call as the Rocket is brought down. 25 on 25. Lee Knight making the tackle.
Well, Dave Beckman's got them emotionally cranked up, and he wants everybody to get a piece of the Rocket. Lee Knight got a piece of him, but unfortunately, he got a piece of his face mask as well.
First down.
The ball comes out to the 50-yard line as we see the Rocket on this kickoff return, looking for the blocking to develop, trying to cut inside. Here comes Lee Knight. There goes the hand on the face mask. 1st and 10 from the 50-yard line. Foggy gets out to the midfield stride. Is there a tendency on his part to think run as soon as he starts moving out there rather than pass?
I don't think there's any question about it. Foggy had both guards pulling out in front of them, and I think all he was thinking at that time was, I'm going to get a good first down play. That's so important in starting a drive. That first play of a drive is very important. We picked up 6 yards. It's a good play.
We're in the final minute of this first half here at the Sky Dome. 20-10, the Argonauts leading. 2nd and 4. Foggy's low throw bouncing in front of Mike Clemens.
Well, the big guys up front, Matt, he would love to be out there. He'd love to have those big guys blocking for him, but it's eating him up inside.
Injuries last year limited his playing time with the Argonauts to 8 games. Hopefully the injury he suffered in this first quarter will not be a serious one and keep him out of the lineup for any length of time. He said last year he felt pressure to get back into the lineup a little too soon, and as a result suffered a recurrence of the injury.
That's the kind of guy he is. He's such a competitor. He wouldn't wait to heal. He went back in too soon and hurt it further.
Good kick this time by Chomik. Zatilny takes it at the 15. Zatilny is hauled down at the 26-yard line by Darryl Ford. 38 seconds remaining in this opening half. That was an 11-yard run back. Here's Scott.
Don, once again, we want to remind our audience that coming up on Live at the Half, Mike Pinball Clemens, the CFL's MVP of last year, will join me live on the sidelines. The Blues Brothers Band, led by Elwood Blues, known to most of us as Dan Aykroyd, will perform live at the Sky Dome. We'll have them on Live at the Half, and we look forward to the highlight that you and Joe select, Don.
Well, there have certainly been a lot of offensive highlights in this opening half. 20-10 is the score. Kerrigan, draw play with Hurd. He fumbles the football but managed to get it back. The Ticats were fortunate there. Hurd lost the football but did get it back.
That would have been the worst possible scenario, to turn the ball over in your own 20-yard line with seconds to go in the game or in the half, because they know they're going to give them at least a field goal. The draw play opens up with fine blocking. You can see what Sanderson has done. He's opened up the hole, and Hurd had to dribble the ball first in order to make the 5 yards.
They give it to Hurd again, and this time he bounces off a couple of tackles to the outside, and a first down at the 41-yard line, stopped there by Carl Brazeley. Just 6 seconds remaining in the half. It's going to take Hurd some time to get his legs back. He was out of football for a year.
That's a long time to stay out of the game. When you're out, particularly for running backs, when you're out of the game for a year, you really have to work at that running, and you have to get it back, and you got to get some bounce in your legs. It looks like McAdoo is the guy that's got the spurt. He's the guy that can get through the line and make yardage. Hurd looks more like he's plowing through.
Kerrigan hasn't changed his name, but he has lost a couple of the letters.
I'm sure he's going to show that to his offensive line at halftime and say, hey, guys, let's have a little better protection up front. The big guys will hear about that.
Just 6 seconds remaining in the half. This is a strange formation. This is an option. This is an extension, but McAdoo didn't get a chance to the lateral. Hurd was the ball carrier who took it, and they were trying for the extension. They had 4 of them lined up behind quarterback Mike Kerrigan.
They call that the rugby return, and they actually play rugby. They go out and pitch it out until they hopefully get the corner, and it was worth a try late in the game.
Still 2 seconds remaining. Ed Berry is the injured Argonaut.
There you see it. There's still another back behind the first pitch man. He's going to pitch it out to the outside man, but he took the tackle instead, and that's why Ed Berry's down. He was supposed to block him and then pitch the ball out.
Ed Berry made the stop. He and Reggie Pleasant provide the Argonauts with 2 very solid corners.
The coaches have been talking a little bit about how their styles differ. You know, Beckman considers himself an enthusiastic, fired-up coach, and he said, "I'd never play a guy that didn't practice." I don't think that sat very well with Adam Rita. I don't think he wanted to hear about Jeff Boyd and Tremaine Johnson and players that hadn't practiced. So if one of them gets a chance, I'm sure that this will be as big a score as it possibly can be.
Well, Rita did not disguise his feelings about the comment made by Beckman regarding Rita inserting players into the lineup who had not practiced. He said, "I don't tell Beckman what to do. I don't want to hear what I should be doing from another coach."
Well, Beckman even tells the team doctor what to do, I've heard at times.
That hit screen to Winfield, looking for a block. He gets one. And he's forced out of bounds by Carl Brazeley, but unfortunately for the Ticats, the first half also comes to an end here at the Sky Dome. An entertaining opening 30 minutes in the home debut of the Argos and the Rocket. They lead 20-10.
It is Toronto 20, Hamilton 10. Welcome to Live at the Half. Mike Clemens is proof that a player smaller than others can find happiness in the wide-open CFL. I know that by yesterday you'd grown tired of questions to do with the Rocket, but we've got new material now. You just saw him play 30 minutes. I won't even ask the question. Go ahead and make your statement.
He's every bit as exciting as everyone had said he would. I kept harping that wait till you see this guy. He's every bit as much of the hype that he's been put up to be, and he's illustrated that in the first half and more.
Is one ball enough to keep you two satisfied on kick returns? Or they're going to have to start playing the game with 2?
Undoubtedly. He can have them all as far as I'm concerned. The way he's running, all we want to do out here is win. I'm sure he feels the same way. We're having fun. We're winning. Now we got to assert ourselves because we had a chance to put them away and they came back.
Ragib Ismail came into this league with fanfare never before seen, and you snuck into the league 2 years ago. Which entrance would you prefer?
I definitely prefer sneaking in the league. A lot of pressure on him. He's a great guy, and he's able to handle it. And so far, he's lived up to his billing.
All right, Mike Clemens, thanks for your time. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Dan Aykroyd carved out a significant part of his reputation as a member of the Blues Brothers. Tonight, he is Elwood Blues, leading the Blues Brothers band in concert live here at the Sky Dome, and we have them on Live at the Half.
Hold it.
Thursday, the Winnipeg Blue Bummers are in town, and we got lots of prizes, lots of surprises. We've got tons of giveaways coming up. But we got a very special presentation down the field. Want to remind you, these guys will be here after the game. So let's go down to field level right now and check it out. What's happening? I'm not sure. Whoa.
Good evening, football fans, and welcome to the Sky Dome. On behalf of the Toronto Argonauts, John Candy, Wayne Gretzky, Bruce McNall, we are pleased to present for your halftime and post-game entertainment, direct from their triumphant European tour, the Blues Brothers Band, with show stars Larry Thurston, Eddie Knock on Wood Floyd, and from Calumet City, Illinois, et la région Outaouais, Mr. Elwood Blues. This is the Elwood Blues Review. Candy coming up through that back door. Hey, hey, hey. Don't you wanna go? Got that same old place, sweet home Toronto. Come on, Louis, blow. Got to get my business fixed. Say, hey, baby, don't you wanna go? All right, to that same old place, sweet home Toronto. Oh yeah, Show band direct from Europe. We will be back to entertain you at the game. At the post game, ladies and gentlemen, we will be here to do a full set for you. So please stay after the game to enjoy Elwood Blues Review.
Elwood Blues look looking like a fellow who grew up a few miles from Toronto in Kingston. Dan Aykroyd, joined on stage by Toronto's John Candy. And so far, a good night for John Candy as owner of the Argonauts, because his team leads 20-10 at the half. And let's join Don and Joe.
All right, Scott. Well, showbiz has certainly taken over here at the Sky Dome. Not only did the Blues Brothers entertain, but the Rocket lived up to advanced billing. A pass reception, but more importantly, a run back, Joe, of 78 yards. Not the way most people anticipated it would be returned by the Rocket. They set it up by having him at the line of scrimmage and then ran a reverse for 78 yards.
Well, we wondered what he was doing, but, you know, up there rushing the kicker. We had the $6 million man trying to get in on a punt, but Rocket knew that would set up what would later become, and on this particular play, the reverse. So when Michael Clements, the pinball, came upfield, Rocket was already streaming downfield, took the ball on the reverse and did some fancy footwork with some good blockers out in front, and he looks like poetry in motion. He's a fine athlete and a nice run back.
Paul Osbaldiston actually did a good job of cutting off the angle, and then Corus Irvin came over to make the tackle on the Rocket, but the fans came alive when he touched the football on that reverse and the punt return.
Well, they come alive when they show him on the scoreboard. I mean, the fans are really happy with the Rocket here, and you can tell that he's going to excite some people.
Well, the Rocket has certainly delivered, and this is CFL debut, and each time there's a punt or a kickoff, there's a buzz of anticipation among the 40,000.
Well, what they want to see the Rocket with the ball, and I don't think anybody can live up to the billing of a touchdown every time, but every time he goes forward and he makes yards.
The Hamilton Ticats, however, did come back just before the half ended, and they only trail by 10. 20-10, Toronto leads as we prepare to start the second half.
The CFL on CBC. Brought to you by Sport OV, real life beer. By GMC Truck. And by Diet 7-Up. Challenge your taste.
Adam Rita is the head coach of the Toronto Argos, has his team in front by 10 at the half. What about this party atmosphere? Is it rubbing off on the players?
I'm not sure. I haven't noticed it, really. You get pretty well locked into the game, so...
I guess that answers the question.
Right. So, you know, maybe after the game we can celebrate a little bit.
How about the Rocket?
He's not bad, is he? He's a lot of fun to watch, and we use him a little bit more than we anticipated, but the guys want to use him, so let's go for it.
Yeah, he played just about the whole first half.
Right, he did, and hopefully we can get him the ball a little bit more in the second half.
What's the story on your quarterback, Matt Dunnigan? Is he done for the night?
Yes, he is. Looks like he pulled a calf muscle.
All right, Adam, good luck in the second half. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much. Back
upstairs to Don Whitman and Joe Galat.
Thank you, Scott. The Toronto Argonauts leading by a margin of 20-10 as we prepare to start the second half. That late touchdown by Rocky DiPietro got the Ticats, Joe, back into the ball game. The 42nd career touchdown for Rocky DiPietro, the CFL's all-time pass reception leader. But look at the time of possession. The first quarter totally dominated by Toronto. They scored 2 touchdowns in the opening quarter and had another wiped out by an end zone interception by Terry Wright. Hamilton, under the direction of Mike Kerrigan, after both Matt Dunnigan and Todd Dillon were injured, managed to get their offense in gear late in the first half. Pretty good balance for the Argos as far as their passing and running game is concerned. This is a team that obviously is going to throw the football a lot, but tonight they've been running a fair bit under the direction of Ricky Foggy, probably running more tonight than they will with Matt Dunnigan at the controls. Richard Nurse on the kickoff return, brought down at the 40-yard line by Brian Warren. That was a 25-yard run back.
Well, the passing statistics have to be a little bit off center because of Foggy calling a pass and then running with the football. But Hamilton has to be encouraged. They're getting the ball to nearly all of their receivers. They're featuring their wideouts, which is what they normally do. Kerrigan has to be encouraged with DiPietro's reception, and he wants to get this thing going and get back on the scoreboard. They're in this ball game.
McAdoo will get a gain of about 5 as he drove up the middle to the 45-yard line.
They like to get Toronto working backwards. They want to get them back on their heels and make sure they have good pass protection for Kerrigan. Beckman is telling him, don't worry, let's have some patience. We can run with the football. Dave likes to establish the line of scrimmage first. And they're doing a good job up front. Riley, Richardson doing a good job of paving the way.
On 2nd and 5. Pass is complete to Lee Knight at the midfield stripe for a first down. Don Wilson took Knight out of bounds. That's something that Beckman stressed yesterday. We have to be patient against the Argonauts. We can't get too excited. And Mike Kerrigan has showed some poise after taking over from Dillon in directing the attack.
And that's what they like. That's what Kerrigan likes, timing patterns. You see Knight made the break. The ball was there as he made the break. That gives Kerrigan a little confidence in his receivers.
1st and 10 from the midfield stripe, trailing by 10 points. A fake inside. Kerrigan sprinting out and throwing to DiPietro, incomplete. DiPietro scoring the touchdown, the 42nd of his CFL career. He's the all-time leading pass receiver, 673 catches. They're now working on Ricky Foggy at that Toronto bench.
Well, that looks like the rib area, and that's not a lot of fun. When you get hurt in the ribs, that can affect both your running and your throwing.
Willie Gillis is the number 3 quarterback on the Argonaut roster. 2nd and 10, Hamilton. This time DiPietro hangs on to the football, but he'll be about 2 yards short of a first down.
Well, Kerrigan's a little bit upset because he wanted to get the first down, and he's got to fault the receiver for making a break less than the sticks, less than the first down marker. And I'm sure he's a little bit upset they didn't get the first down. However, they are in Toronto territory with good field position, and they can get the ball back if they hold on this next drive.
DiPietro and Kerrigan live in St. Catharines, and the two of them drive to practice at Ivor Wynne Stadium on a daily basis.
Well, they've got to be on the same page. They're in the same car.
I'm sure they talk pass patterns and various plays on that drive from St. Catharines to Hamilton.
That's what Dave Beckman wants. He wants the ball right into the sideline. He wants to restrict the area that their return people are able to have.
Well, we thought they had done that against the pinball last week, but he ran one back for 94 yards. We'll be back after this. Well, this is what it's all about. This is what they're playing for, the Grey Cup. And this year's Grey Cup game will take place on the 24th of November in Winnipeg. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers, the defending Grey Cup champions. You never ever got an opportunity to have your name engraved in this, did you, Joe?
Oh, I wanted to drink from that cup many times, Don. Came close twice.
Well, we'll keep it here for post-game, and you can have a sip then. Kelly with a good run out to the 21. And that is a Toronto first down. You know, last week, Adam Rita said run is a dirty word in the Toronto offensive vocabulary, but tonight, the Argonauts have been running the football and doing an effective job of moving it, whether it's Foggy or Kelly.
Well, they've been doing that, and they've also been throwing the ball, and of course, they said they were going to get the ball to the wideouts, and that's what they've done most often.
Kelly again, this time his advance is restricted to about 4 yards as he stopped at the 25 by Mark Dennis.
When you lose a quarterback or two, I think you have a tendency to want to run the ball once in a while. You're seeing why they have a new rule in the CFL that there are 3 quarterbacks dressed for a game, because there are times when you need 3 quarterbacks.
Talking about that Grey Cup game to take place in Winnipeg on the 24th of November, already we understand that something like 42,000 tickets have been sold for the game. Jones pursuing Foggy, but he could not catch him. Foggy is bounced out of bounds at the Hamilton bench, but he should have a first down. He had to get up to about the 31.5, and it appears that's where he was knocked out of bounds. Let's see where they spot it.
Well, Foggy didn't hide the football, but his signature play is to roll out, and Ricky has that speed, the running ability, to make something out of nothing, and that's just about what he did. He didn't fool anybody, but he outran them, and it's going to be very close to a first down.
Close enough for a measurement. And that's the reason for the delay with 11:22 remaining in this third quarter. You know, we talked earlier about Adam Rita objecting to some of the comments that David Beckman made about players Rita inserted into his lineup for game one. The Ticats didn't like the advertising campaign that the Argonauts conducted for this season opener at the Sky Dome. They took exception to ads saying the Ticats were just a bunch of pussies.
I think there's always been a little bit of bad blood between Hamilton and Toronto, and it certainly is boiling right now. Obviously, Toronto's going to go for it, but look at Beckman. He wants nothing more than to get that football back and to make this a football game, and they're not out of it. They're certainly in the ball game, even with the fumbled kickoff, which gave them the 7 points. Could have been the difference in making this a very, very tight football game.
When Foggy went out of bounds, he wiped out the yardsticks. He broke the chain, so they had to bring in a new set of yardsticks.
That's how tough Ricky Foggy is.
And Foggy keeps on the third down gamble and should have the first down.
You know, a quarterback has to do so many things, and certainly the short yardage. When the defensive line is a yard off the ball, that's when the quarterback calls his own number. And Ricky loves to run the ball inside, outside, or scrambling up through the middle on the pass rush. Here comes the new chains. I wouldn't be surprised to see Ricky Foggy put the ball in the air. He doesn't have this much patience. He's going to throw the football.
20-10 is the score. You see the marker bent just a little. Foggy and Ramel Andrews both rolled into it on the sidelines, and they had to replace those two markers and the chain. 1st and 10, the ball now at the 32. Ticats got a good punt by Osbaldiston. It looked as though they were pinning them in. Oh, the pinball. Tried to one-hand that, but he could not pull it down. He got in behind Tuanao Alapate.
Well, Ricky hadn't thrown the ball in about 4 plays, and I think he's just a little bit excited. He let go of the ball, just let him maybe about 3 inches too much, and the pinball had a chance for it, certainly extended. Was a well-conceived play.
Second and 10 from the 32. Darrell Smith was wide open, but the ball was over his head. Horace Irvin was over defending. Well, last week, Bart Hall made his CFL debut with the Ottawa Rough Riders. In attendance at tonight's game, another number 16, Brett Hall. You think Bruce McNall would like to have Brett Hall playing alongside Wayne Gretzky in that Los Angeles lineup?
Oh, I think he'd take him in a minute. And you know, if Chomik gets a good punt, they might call him for icing.
Zatilny handles the ball at the 45, stopped at the 50-yard line. Ball comes loose. The Ticats say they got it. The Argos claim they've got it. And the officials rule in favor of Chris Gaines and the double blue. 9:39 remains in the quarter. The Argos take over. Well, Steve Zatilny, for the second time tonight, loses control of the football on a punt return, and the Argos take over. 1st and 10 at the 53. Darryl Ford stripped Wally Zatilny of that football.
Chris Gaines, of course, came up with it. And Chris isn't pretty, but he makes big plays.
Foggy will try and run out of there. Jackson makes the tackle on the sidelines. Close to it 10-yard gain for Ricky Foggy. Chris Gaines is the man who came up with that football, and this was the hit that popped it loose by Darryl Ford.
They say tackle the football, and that's what Ford did. He stripped him of the ball, very close. Now, Chris Gaines is a chunky guy. He's not one of those guys that can wear clothes off the rack, but he makes big plays. Every game he comes up with a nice turnover, and this is a big play.
Ricky Foggy has carried 12 times for 83 yards so far tonight. He'll run it again. I don't think Adam Rita wants to see him doing too much of that. Horace Irvin came up to make the tackle.
Well, I think Adam Rita knows what kind of quarterbacks he has, because he's actually got one on the practice roster. So he's got 4 quarterbacks on this ball club. If Ricky can't break the down markers, he tries to break the defensive backs.
They're going to measure this one. 92 yards now, the rushing total for Ricky Foggy.
I know what Ricky's telling him. He said, I didn't know I was going to have to run this much. I think he's a little bit winded. But Ricky's the kind of guy who loves to play basketball, racquetball. He's always playing some kind of sport, and you wouldn't see an athlete do as much as Ricky Foggy's done tonight and still jump up smiling like he does. Willie Gillis is their backup quarterback, and he's certainly capable and played in the playoff last year. He's a big guy, 6'4", and he has a strong arm, so Gillis is capable, and he may see some action tonight, if only to give Foggy a rest.
2nd and inches, the ball just outside the 32, 8:30 remaining in this 3rd quarter. Toronto in front of Hamilton, 20-10. The Argonauts are at home next Thursday against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Darryl Smith holds it in. He's got a touchdown. Excellent call by Foggy. He faked the handoff, caught the defense, and fired the touchdown strike to Darryl Smith, his 2nd of the game, 3rd of the season.
That's the problem. When you take away the outside receivers, Foggy loves to throw that seam pattern, and he's got some fine people to run that route. Darryl K. Smith runs the seam route very well. The Rocket set it up. It was the Rockets' responsibility to cause that defense to defend the outside, and that's what he did.
The point after by Lance Chomick. And the Argonauts lead by 17.
Darryl Smith said his brother's coming up next week. His brother's a coach at Miami of Ohio and former Seattle Seahawk running back. I bet Darryl Smith wishes his brother were here this week. Is that number 1 for his jersey number, or is it number 1 for the Argonauts?
Well, he was the number 1 receiver in the CFL last year, 20 touchdown receptions.
That guy's number 5.
And he's off to a good start in bettering that total with 3 already this year. McAdoo takes it at the 15-yard line. Stopped at the 35 by Paul Nastasia. 20 yards on the return after a 60-yard kickoff.
Because the roster is so small, you got to have good special teams people, and Elliott is one of them. He's got to cover punts, kickoffs. They go down unfield. Gaines made a nice lasso, and Elliott came in to clean it up. But those 10 players that play all the special teams positions really have to be in shape, because it's a hot night, and there's a lot of running, as you can see.
1st and 10. The ball is at the 35. The attempted screen, the ball was deflected. Lee Knight still made the catch. It was deflected by Rodney Harding.
Well, I don't think we got enough drop. I don't think the quarterback got enough depth, and he didn't fool Harding. Usually you have to have the ball down on your hip, then bring it up for the screen, and Harding saw it and got a piece of it.
Well, the fans at the Skydome tonight have certainly been entertained. That man has contributed to their enjoyment, a pair of touchdowns. Carl Brazeley was blitzing the ball, overthrown as Kerrigan tried to direct it to Winfield.
Dan Ferroni is telling Schultz what to do. They're getting a lot of twist stunts up front, and he's telling him to. Now Skimp's telling him what to do. That's great organization in there, but Ferroni, being Italian, he's doing more speaking.
Clemens and the Rocket are both back. Where's this third down punt? And Ismail will handle it. What a block that Reggie Pleasant put on Richard Nurse, trying to get Ismail around the corner. A 13-yard run back with 6:46 remaining in the third quarter. Brian Williams and Bobby Unser will be on hand to describe the action from the former home of the Toronto Argonauts over at the CNE Stadium grounds. That's part of the circuit. Willie Gillis now in at quarterback, looking for the Rocket. He can't hang on. Gary Wilkerson running down the field with Ismail. But Matt Dunnigan said one of the concerns of the Toronto quarterbacks is that the Rocket would outrun their arm.
Well, that's the problem with the Rocket. He hasn't practiced that much, and his speed is something that's difficult to judge. He underthrew him a little bit. I know he was concerned about getting the ball to him quick so that he wouldn't outrun his arm, and he didn't do it at that time.
Willie Gillis out of Norfolk State. He played in 3 games last year for the Argonauts. He completes the pass to Darrell K. Smith for a gain of about 9, stopped by Terry Wright.
That shows a lot of poise by a backup quarterback to get that first down, to keep the drive alive, at least close to the first down, and I think he'll probably take it up the middle on this one.
Willie Gillis was at the BC Lion training camp, went to the Ottawa Rough Riders, and then to the Toronto Argonauts. I believe you were responsible for bringing him into the league, weren't you, in BC?
Well, Foggy and Gillis are a tandem, and both good athletes at BC.
The third down gamble, Gillis will keep. He'll get the first down. 5:32 remaining in this third quarter.
Willie Gillis broke all kinds of records in university at Norfolk. A little bit of problem with patience when Willie first came up. He wanted a touchdown on every play, and that showed me something, that the pass that he threw to Darrell K. Smith, a possession pass, knowing that he wanted to keep his team moving, keep getting the first downs, and you're going to hear from Willie Gillis. He's good enough to play.
Well, he's getting some valuable playing time now, whether it's because of injuries to both Dunnigan or Foggy or by design on the part of Coach Adam Rita, but he is calling the signals. 1st and 10. Dumping it off to Kelly. And Kelly will have a gain of 8, maybe a little bit more. Dennis came over to make the tackle on the sidelines. And there's an injured Ticat player. Pretty good collision over on the far side of the field. Michael Jones made the initial contact. He's hurt.
Michael Jones played in the Arena League, and I'm sure he's saying right now that Arena League has a smaller field. He had to go all the way over to the sideline, and this field is 65 yards wide. It's a long way to go.
Well, for someone who spent time in the Arena Football League, he would certainly notice the difference in the size of the field here in the Canadian Football League. Scott?
Well, Don, talking about players who are hurt, I can tell you this. Number 14 for the Argos, quarterback Ricky Foggy, is not. He's on the bench being spelled by Willie Gillis because Adam Reeder decided to change quarterback simply for a change of pace. So the problem with Ricky Foggy is not medical.
And Ricky Foggy, as Joe said last week, always seems to have a happy expression on his face. He smiles a lot. We had a conversation with him yesterday, and he was eagerly looking forward to this game today, and the 40,000-plus fans at the Skydome are certainly enjoying it as well.
Adam Rita said he wanted to have fun. He wanted practices to be fun. He wanted the fans to have fun. And you know, you got 50 people on your team. It's like a family. And he's got a happy family right now.
And the roof at the Dome is open tonight. A perfect football evening here in Toronto. And they'll get more of it next Thursday night as they take on the defending Grey Cup champion Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And many people feel that the battle for the Eastern Division title will be between Winnipeg and Toronto.
It very well could be. Winnipeg has that swarming defense that seems to stifle everybody. Toronto has that explosive offense. And last year when they matched up, the defense won.
John Moten has replaced Michael Jones at the linebacking position. He's another of the many new faces in the defensive scheme of the Ticats this season. On second down, Kelly gets the first down. He's driven back by Irvin, but his forward progress had carried him beyond that forward marker.
That's a fine second effort. He kept his legs digging and driving. You know why he's working so hard? Because they got a backup named Smelly. And both of those fullbacks are really solid football players. Hallman wants to go on the field.
Kelly from Bishops. Getting the first down. They spot the ball at the 45. Willie Gillis taking over. 3:30 remaining in the third quarter, replacing Ricky Foggy. Ismail makes the catch. Make that Trumaine Johnson.
Well, Adam said that he wanted to get if they're going to play a zone coverage, he wanted to have the patience. He wanted to pick them apart. He wanted to dump the ball, get it into the seams, and Trumaine just made a quick turn in, got the football, caught them in the roll-up.
Adam Rita, the rookie head coach of the Toronto Argonauts, a longtime assistant with both BC, and he was an assistant here in Toronto. Gillis over the middle for Murray. He's got a first down at the 9.
Andrew Murray, another BC player that Willie Gillis has thrown to quite often. Willie knows Andrew Murray's moves because they played together at BC. He knows that Murray's going to take the inside on the seam, and he delivered the football. They're in good field position right now.
They've moved 63 yards in 7 plays. It's first and goal. Gillis fakes. He'll try and run it himself. He gets to the 2.
That's the Canadian game. Those quarterbacks run, and then when they get into a pile, they come out the other end. They really drive through people. Gillis had some people open late, but he didn't want to risk it. He wanted to take the ball in himself, and that's the mark of a good quarterback. When you get down inside your 20-yard line, the quarterback takes it in. That means you've got a leader.
In the CFL, a mobile quarterback is almost essential to be successful.
Unless you've got 5 600-pounders protecting him.
Second and goal. Trumaine Johnson has it deflected away by Gary Wilkerson.
That was a great play by Wilkerson. Gary stayed right with him, didn't bite, man-to-man coverage, perfect end zone play. Gillis wanted to use the fade pattern, anticipating that he would get an up move on him, and Wilkerson just played it perfectly. You can see him tip the ball away right at the last instant.
Third and goal from the 2. Wilkerson has had to contend with a lot of speed at that right cornerback position tonight. He hasn't done a bad job. Draw play, Gillis, touchdown. coach certainly gets involved during the course of a football game. He's patting players on the back, congratulating Willie Gillis as he scores the touchdown. Now looks on as Lance Chomick adds the extra point. And the Toronto Argonauts, who had the Ticats threatening with a 20-10 lead at halftime, have now taken total control in the third quarter. 14 unanswered points.
Adam Rita said he had trouble on the sideline the first game. He doesn't have any trouble anymore. Really has spread out everybody, all the receivers. Just reads Ian Beckstead and makes the cut off of him for the touchdown. Nice moves after he scored. They practiced that dance. We saw them practicing the dance yesterday. It's for when they score. You notice they don't spike, they dance. That's what it's all about.
Willie Gillis celebrating his first touchdown of the 1991 season. And the Toronto Argonauts lead the Ticats 34-10. That statistic right there pretty much tells the story of this ball game.
You can't score if you don't have the ball.
Short kickoff attempt knocked out of bounds by Giftopoulos. He deflected it at the 53-yard line.
Well, that was probably for Coach Beckman, who didn't like the way Adam Rita played players who hadn't practiced.
And an alert Pete Giftopoulos got over there to knock that ball out of bounds.
Pete's a football player. He's one of those Penn State linebackers. He was really pumped up tonight. He wanted to get some hard hits on the Rocket, but he doesn't play a position where he can get very close to the Rocket.
Well, Giftopoulos was born in Hamilton. He was drafted by the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Traded to the Ticats. Happy to be at home playing football, and Carl Brazeley thought he had a touchdown. That pass intended for Derek McAdoo, and Brazeley picked it off. He was gone for 6.
Okay, Carl Brazeley knows what they're coming to. He came right through and picked off the ball, read the quarterback's eyes, and he had 6 points ready to go. 6 points all the way, but he didn't catch the ball.
This time, the theft is made by Reggie Pleasant. And he's tackled by Earl Winfield out at the 48. A 23-yard interception return by Reggie Pleasant.
Well, you can't throw a long pass short, and the walls caved in on Kerrigan. Short drop. He didn't really get his arm into it, and that was a fair catch. I mean, that was not a very well-thrown ball. Unfortunately, he didn't have the protection that he wanted.
Kerrigan was looking for Ken Evrere. And the interception return with a penalty added on moves the ball to the 51.
Well, Toronto came out of that. An onside kick could have hurt them in terms of field position. It could have maybe brought the Ticats back. Had an opportunity to score, but that interception certainly helped.
Ricky Foggy returns to the lineup at quarterback. His pass deflected at the line of scrimmage. He was looking to the sidelines for Ismail.
I think that's what Ferroni was talking to Schultz about. They're doing some stumping up front. They're having a little bit of trouble blocking, and I think what Ferroni was trying to tell us, we got to keep a solid wall, and he didn't keep the solid wall. They have to be able to bump off. There's either man protection.
Dan Ferroni is not in there right now. Jeff Croonan was the man who deflected that. Jim Kardash is getting an opportunity to play as Ferroni takes a rest. Clemens bouncing to the outside, stopped short of the first down at the 45-yard line. And that is the end of the third quarter, with the Toronto Argonauts leading the Hamilton Tiger Cats by 24. Third down to start the fourth quarter. The Argos will be punting the ball, leading by 24. And Coach Adam Rita has substituted rather freely tonight. Just one man back for this third down kick by Chomik. That is Todd Wiseman. He previously played in the CFL with the BC Lions. Good high kick. Wiseman waits for it at the 8. Nowhere to go. Surrounded and down at the 10. The statistics are heavily weighted in favor of the Toronto Argonauts. Time of possession 31-39. And the Ticats have turned the ball over 3 times, twice on fumbles and once via interception. 412 total yards so far for Toronto.
Certainly those 2 kicking fumbles, the one on the punt and the kickoff, hurt very badly.
Hand off to Hurd, and Hurd gets out to about the 16-yard line. I talked about the number of substitutions that Coach Adam Rita is making along the offensive line. He has been moving Jim Kardash and Blaine Schmidt into the left side, replacing Chris Schultz and Dan Ferrone. He's been rotating them, and I'm sure those offensive linemen appreciate that decision on a warm night such as we have here in Toronto.
And it's good football because when they have somebody go down, the other players have some playing experience, some game experience.
Hurd on second down, finds a hole and gets the first down to the 25. The ball came loose, but the whistle had already gone. And Hurd appears to be injured.
Herman Hurd was with Kansas City for about 6 years and had a good career. Came up to join the Ticats, and looks like he's got a little problem with either the wind or maybe a knee.
He was out of football for a year, and the Ticat coaching staff feel that it will take the Southern Colorado product a few games to get his legs back and become accustomed to the contact, etc.
Herman made a nice move to the outside to get the first down, to pick up the first down.
Next Thursday night, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers visit the Sky Dome to take on the Argonauts, and we'll have it for you on CBC television. Darryl Rogers, the rookie head coach in Winnipeg, against the rookie head coach here in Toronto, Adam Rita. Rogers, however, with previous head coaching experience at Arizona and Michigan, as well as the Detroit Lions of the NFL. He got his team away to a successful start, 23-9 over the Ticats last week. Tomorrow night, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are at home to the BC Lions. Kerrigan throwing back to McAdoo on the screen, and McAdoo stopped right at the line of scrimmage by Don Moan.
Well, Moan and Holloman, they had that play smelled out. You can tell by the blocking when it's a screen sometimes. When it's just too easy, you don't rush the passer, and that's exactly what happened. Holloman saw the screen set up, dropped over, made the play with help from Don Moan.
Second and 10, Hamilton, penalty flag. Zatilny makes the catch. Barry gets him. The ball comes loose, and Barry has it. But there were penalty flags back at the line of scrimmage. This year, as we pointed out on our opening telecast last week in Ottawa, there is an additional official this year in the CFL. The seventh man, the side judge.
Kerrigan showed his arm strength getting the ball out there.
We'll wait for referee Jake Ireland to explain what the call
Offside. Toronto number 21. Offside. Hamilton number 1. Repeat, second down.
Both teams offside, so they'll repeat the down. It will be second and 10. Kerrigan replaced the starter Todd Dillon, who went down with an injury in the second quarter. Toronto starter Matt Dunnigan was hurt early in the first. Penalty flags again. Rocky DiPietro was across the line of scrimmage. This pass is intercepted by Carl Braisley. Now it appeared as though it was an offside call against Hamilton. If that's the case, the Argos will take over.
Free safety blitz. Kerrigan saw the blitz, threw the ball out there, but Carl Braisley, he's played in this league too long. He dropped back and made the play.
Procedure. Hamilton, number 23. Decline. First down.
So the Argos take over, 1st and 10 from the 40. And that's where they'll scrimmage when we return.
Mike Kerrigan saw the free safety blitz coming and did what he should do. He went downfield to Rocky DiPietro, but unfortunately Carl Braisley came over and made the play.
Munford, coming from that safety position, was picked up. Braisley made the interception. However, had the pass been completed, it would have been wiped out by a procedure call as Rocky DiPietro had moved across the line of scrimmage prior to the ball being snapped. 1st and 10 from the 40-yard line. Willie Gillis back in at quarterback. Over the head of Darrell K. Smith. It will be 2nd and 10. You know, last week, all the visiting teams were winners in the CFL. The first time that has happened since week 13 of 1989. So far this week, the two home teams look as though they're going to have victories. Last night, Edmonton beat Ottawa 40-33. And with 11:56 remaining in the 4th quarter and Toronto in front 34-10, it looks as though the Argonauts will be the 2nd home team to win in week 2 of CFL play. Pinball Clemens has a first down at the 22.
Pinball Clemens is as good as any wide receiver in the league, and when they split him out, you know that he's going to be usually breaking to the inside. Clemens gives the outside move, breaks back to the inside. Gillis took a good hit and still delivered the football. Good football play by Gillis and Clemens.
5 receptions tonight for 70 yards for the pinball. 1st and 10. Off the fingertips of Andrew Murray. It will be 2nd and 10. In addition to this game tonight, Saskatchewan is at Calgary in the other CFL encounter this evening. And tomorrow night, week 2 concludes with Winnipeg at home to the BC Lions. And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers will be visitors next Thursday night here at the Sky Dome. And we'll have that game for you on CBC television. 11 minutes remaining in the game. 34-10. Toronto leading. It's 2nd and 10. The ball is at the 22. Former Argonaut gets through on quarterback Willie Gillis and drops him for a loss back at the 33. John Moulton favors that right leg. Visco had a clean shot at the Toronto quarterback. Nobody picked him up.
Some people say, where is the weakness in Toronto? And it looks like the backside pass protection might be the weakness. We've seen players get through the backside last week on Matt Dunnigan and this week again. So with the 6 receivers out, that leaves some room on the corners for the linebacker blitzing. And I think Visco had a good time on that blitz.
John Motten, the injured player. The intended receiver who was downfield was Darrell K. Smith. And one of the reasons that Motten was injured, he got tripped up as he was trying to drop back into pass coverage.
Very difficult to try to turn and change directions on the AstroTurf. And sometimes it bites you. And that's exactly what happened. It just took a big bite out of his shoe.
We remind you that this program is copyright and is strictly for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, retransmission, distribution, or exhibition in whole or in part without the express written consent of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation is strictly prohibited.
One of the things Dan Ferroni was trying to tell the lineman that went in to take his place, they got Schmidt in there taking the shot. Don't be concerned with the outside. You've got to protect the people over you first and let the backs pick up the outside. or the slot. And that's what happened. The slot didn't see the blitz, didn't pick him up, but the linemen can't worry about that. They've got to do their job first.
Well, these fans tonight at the Skydome have certainly been having a lot of fun watching the action. Lance Chomick will be attempting a 39-yard field goal. He's 2 for 2 tonight. He's 3 for 3, 7 for 7 on the season. 37-10 is the score. 10:26 is the time remaining. (37-10) with that Lance Chomick field goal. Toronto leading Hamilton. 1st and 10. The Ticats from the 35. Nurse on the sidelines is taken out of bounds by Don Wilson. On the sidelines, let's bring in Scotto.
Well, Don, we have a general agreement that we won't talk to players who are active in the game, but in the case of Lance Chomick, we're making an exception because that was a milestone kick. 1,001 career points in exactly 6 seasons. Felt good, I'm sure.
Oh, it felt good. It was kind of an ugly kick to get it on, a real knuckleball, but hey, I'll take him in the end.
You're drawing double duty tonight.
Yeah, it's fun for a change. The first 2 kicks, you can tell why I make a living as a field goal kicker instead of a punter, but it felt good to get in there and do both.
Congratulations on the milestone. And don't tell anybody we talked to you during the game, okay?
Will do. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Lance.
Yes, we'll keep that a secret, Scott, as the Hamilton Ticats pick up a first down out across the 45-yard line. Derek McAdoo, the ball carrier. You know, Lance Chomick has made 7 consecutive field goals so far this season. His consecutive field goal record is 14. Back in 1985, at the end of that season and the start of '86, he had 14 in a row.
Sounds active to me.
Winfield makes the catch. Looks for a block, gets one from Lee Knight and gets inside the 25-yard line.
Well, look at Kerrigan. His numbers are totally drawn off of him there. He's only Kerr now. That's his name, Kerr, because they've ripped his numbers off the back. He's had a tough night, but he's showing his character. Coming back to Winfield.
Major foul, roughing the passer. Toronto number 21. First down.
Well, the roughing the passer by Ford will add to the gain as Kerrigan takes that late hit. And the ball, after the 40-yard pass, has now moved down to the 13-yard line. 1st and 10, Hamilton.
Winfield back in the lineup certainly is a boost to Hamilton. They'd probably like to have Champion back as well.
Winfield was the target again. He's made 5 catches so far tonight. His 6th might have produced a touchdown, but Reggie Pleasant deprived him of that opportunity.
Reggie Pleasant told us yesterday that he had a problem last week. He got beat in man-to-man coverage, and he wasn't going to let it happen anymore, and I believe him. He did a good job covering Winfield on that play and saved a touchdown.
Winfield lines up against Pleasant again on 2nd and 10. Penalty flag on the play as Darryl Ford, the linebacker, had dropped out of there in pass coverage with Herman Hurd. However, there was a penalty flag at the line of scrimmage. 7:59 remains in the game. 37-10 is the score.
Offside. Toronto number 21. Repeat 2nd down.
Well, Ford was guilty of the offside call, so it will be a 5-yard pickup on the infraction. Moving the ball to the 7, it will be 2nd and 5. Gary Durchik, the assistant coach, alongside David Beckman, wearing the headphones.
Beckman wants a touchdown.
So do the Ticats and all their fans. Kerrigan looks for it, and Nurse provides it. Kerrigan's name has gone from Kerrigan, then it was Kerran, now it's just down to K-E-R-R. But he got the ball into the end zone to Richard Nurse.
And he's taken some shots. And you have to admire the way he's hanging in there on it. Push off maybe a little bit, but well, hey, what the heck? When the score is that lopsided, you want to get that touchdown in and make it a ball game. So Nurse did a good job of concentrating on the football after he gave the receiver a little shot.
Paul Osbaldiston adds the point after with 7:35 remaining. And we'll be back with the Hamilton kickoff after this. 7:35 remaining and trailing by 20. It would not surprise if the Hamilton Ticats attempted the onside kick as Paul Osbaldiston prepares to kick it off from the 35-yard line.
And the Rocket and the pinball get up there anyway.
And everybody lines up to the left side. And Osbaldiston kicks it that way. The football is loose, knocked out of bounds by the Argonauts.
There's a penalty, and I think they're going to call blocking by the kicking team. That's a tough call, and I guess you have to be a little better actor when you're going down for that ball. All they have to do is tip it out of bounds, but it looks like some people aren't acting. They're blocking.
There definitely appeared to be a couple of blocks thrown by members of the Hamilton Ticats prior to any member of the Argonauts having an opportunity to play the football. And that's the signal from referee Jake Ireland. Well, Mike Kerrigan knew this was going to be a rough night, but he didn't think his ancestry would change from Irish to Scottish. Kerrigan to Kerr.
I've heard of getting your socks knocked off, but I never heard of getting your name changed. All they need to do is to get the ball tipped out of bounds, but you can see the lead blockers are just doing that blocking. They should have played the ball a little bit more closely. Didn't fool anybody. Now Pinball and Rocket have done such a good job on returns. I guess with 7 minutes to go, it's not a bad gamble to try the onside kick, but they're backed up now on the 25-yard line. I think they'd be smart to give it a squib, maybe down through the middle.
Well, they are going to line up in a normal kickoff formation this time.
Plus, they've got all the skilled people in there, and they don't block very well. They won't block like the normal return people.
The Rocket has it. Let's see what he does this time. He reverses. That last tackle made by Tim Jackson, or the Rocket may have touched down in the end zone.
Well, you want to know if he's got the moves and if he's got the athletic ability. I think this answers that. He touches down twice with his hand, still able to make some right angle cuts. I think he's more smooth than anything. Pinball makes the jerky movements, whereas it looks like the Rocket makes those weaving movements. Both very difficult to tackle.
Gillis at quarterback from the 54 of the Ticats. Too far for Jeff Boyd. It will be 2nd and 10. 25-yard run back on that previous kickoff return by the Rocket.
What we see are line stunts. They're trying to rush the passer, and by changing the direction, they hope to confuse the passer, the pass protectors, and then hopefully get to the passer. That's why they have to stay in an area or a zone.
2nd and 10 from the 54, 6:45 remaining. This goes after Gillis. He gets it away. It's intercepted, kicked off by Irvin. He stopped at midfield. A 14-yard return by Corus Irvin, who played with London of the World League of American Football this year.
Now Gillis wanted to go deep, and I think that was his downfall. He was trying to buy time, running laterally, looking for the deep one, and by the time he got to the sideline and got run out of space, he couldn't get it across his body. That's a tough pass to throw. Very difficult to go right, throw it back across your body, usually results in an interception.
1st and 10 from midfield. Winfield. Takes the ball to the 48. That would be a gain of about 7 yards.
Horace Irvin was All-World League of American Football at London Monarchs, I believe was the name of the team. And I wonder how he likes it here in Toronto.
Well, he's finding that this will be a long football season, playing the regular schedule in the World League of American Football and looking at the prospect of 18 regular season CFL games.
And playing on a big field.
Hurd on second down. Gallops down to the 41. It will be 1st and 10 Hamilton from that point. Darryl Ford made the tackle. Wholesale changes this year with the Hamilton Ticats, both offensively and defensively. The majority of them on defense, but Hurd is one of the new offensive people. Richard Nurse trying to extend for that football. It was over his head. 5:13 remains in the game. 37-17 is the score.
You know, most defensive people like to play with a big lead like this because they can just tee off. The up front guys, the battle of the heavyweights, they can tee off and really attack the passer. Play loose zone like they did and make the other team complete passes and make them take time to get down the field.
Winfield back in, replacing Cartwright. On second down, Kerrigan tried to run it as he had his receivers covered, and Harold Hallman gets the sack. But you can credit that sack to the defensive backs who had the receivers well covered downfield.
Well, they changed up on him and gave him man coverage, and Hallman had the time to get in there and make the play. Hallman's a good football player, but he likes the power rush. And it does take a little bit of time. He's not a finesse rusher that will do the swims and the dips and the spin outs, but he comes right through and gets a lot of penetration in the middle, really disturbs the quarterback.
Paul Osbaldiston will be attempting a 52-yard field goal with 4:30 remaining here at the Sky Dome in Toronto. The kick is wide. Clemens in the end zone. Looked as though he was going to concede a single point. And finally is forced out of the end zone by Ernie Schremeyer, and that makes it a 37-18 score. Scott?
Well, Don, they played round 1 of the British Open at the Royal Birkdale in Southport, England today, and what a round it was for Seve Ballesteros. He eagled 17, birdied 18 to take a one-shot lead after 18 holes of play. Chip Beck follows, as does Martin Gates, who holds dual Canadian and British citizenship, but is playing the British Open as a Brit. Danny Miabic of Canada is at even par. And all this is important to us because coming up on Sports Weekend, this weekend, live third and final round coverage of the British Open. Saturday's round begins at 10 Eastern and Sunday's round begins at 9:30. Don?
Well, a busy weekend for the sports fan on CBC television. Live coverage of the British Open Saturday and Sunday. The special on the Molson Indy tomorrow night, and then live coverage of the Molson Indy on Sunday afternoon. Willie Gillis gives to Kevin Smelly. He has replaced Keith Kelly at that running back position for the Toronto Argonauts, and he'll pick up 4 yards.
Well, Willie's getting some experience, and I think he'd like to take back that interception he's thrown. So let's see if he can take it down the field now and show a little bit of field generalship.
Well, the fans at the Sky Dome tonight getting very involved, congratulating Carl Brazeley on his interception.
Is he running for office?
Very popular with the fans in the lower seats behind the Toronto bench. Smelly breaks a couple of tackles, and even though Todd Wiseman had a grip in his jersey, he managed to scamper to the 42. A 22-yard gain for Kevin Smelly, who has replaced Keith Kelly at that running back spot for the Argos. 3 minutes, the time remaining here at the Sky Dome. 37-18 is the score. First and 10. Toronto. The Argos at the 44 of Hamilton. Smelly, the ball carrier again. Some fine running as he battles his way to the 26.
They've really got them confused now because the last play they ran a tackle trap. Smelly bounced it to the outside, showing that he set up the other with the tackle trap to the inside. So wherever he goes, he's got the defense really guessing.
Smelly has carried the ball in the last 3 plays, a total of 44 yards rushing after taking over from Keith Kelly. This time it's the pinball. He gets away from Covington, but he can't escape Tony Visco. .216 remaining in the game.
Pinball can make just an average play look pretty exciting, and what he's done here is he bounces back to the outside. He goes about 8 yards in a lateral move, but Visco wasn't fooled. And you know, Hamilton's really fighting. They're staying in the ball game. They're not giving them anything. Toronto has to take everything they get.
Clemens, according to Adam Rita, can make you miss in a telephone booth. He has put moves on several people tonight, taking them right out of position. Now it's Gillis in trouble, but he'll get the throw away over the head of Darrell K. Smith. Jones was after Gillis with 1:51 remaining in the game, and Gillis threw that one really out of desperation.
Well, Michael Jones is back out there from the Arena League, and watch what he does here. He makes a pretty good recovery on Gillis and forces a bad throw.
So Lance Chomick will attempt another field goal, having achieved a milestone earlier with his 1,001st career point. 3 for 3 tonight. And his consecutive streak ends at 7, but he does drive it through the end zone for a single point.
Well, Scott said he was only going to talk to players that weren't actively involved in the game.
Well, Chomick is so happy about breaking that 1,000-point barrier, and he will be unhappy very definitely with that kick. It was not a good attempt at 3.
So many things have to happen. That wasn't a good hold. The ball wasn't perpendicular. It wasn't up and down. He did spin the laces, but it wasn't a great hold. It's got to be a good snap. The ball has to be perfectly placed on the ground, and it just didn't happen. It wasn't all Chomick's fault.
Ed Barry intercepts the Mike Kerrigan pass as the Argos get the football back at the 54. Pardon me, make that the 46-yard line.
Well, you know, Hamilton was trying to rugby sort of a return or an option play to the outside. This whole game looks like they're playing rugby right now, just throwing back and forth to each other. And Kerrigan, I know what he's looking for, but Barry just stepped right in front and took the ball. You can't go to the well too many times on the wide side of the field. Some coaches have a theory. The wide side, right side, is a very difficult throw, and more often than not gets intercepted.
Richard Nurse was the intended receiver, but Barry gets the ball back for the Argonauts, and they are 1st and 10 from the 46 of Hamilton. Clemens trying to get to the outside, now cuts back inside into some traffic, and he pays the price as he takes a pretty solid hit right at the line of scrimmage.
He didn't follow his blockers. Pinball had 2 blockers out in front, and you can see the guard tried to kick out, and of course the tackle turned up, but he didn't have a very good beat on the blockers, and that's what happens when you try to break the corner and nobody's blocking the corner.
Clemens actually lost a yard on the play. Boyd goes wide left, Trumaine Johnson to the right. Oh! Gillis for a pinball. He's got it down at the 21. That's a pretty tough job for a linebacker. Alapati trying to get back there to cover Clemens that deep.
Too much time. You can cover a linebacker can cover a back for a while, but he can't cover him that long, so you've got to have much better coverage. Pinball loves to break across to the middle. He loves those kinds of plays, and he just bent across outside and concentrated on the ball, made a good catch. Tough on Alipati to cover him for that long.
1st and 10 with 57 seconds remaining. The ball just outside the 20-yard line. This is run all the way. And Gillis has another first down, out of bounds at the 5. They'll rule he went out at the 6.
Toronto's got some tough quarterbacks. I mean, they break the down markers. They break the defensive backs, hit the linebackers. When they pull those two guards and run out there, Willie Gillis, 6'4", about 215 pounds. That's an awesome-looking quarterback coming at you. High step in it.
Well, the quarterbacks have been quite a running threat tonight for the Toronto Argonauts. Ricky Foggy and Willie Gillis. And it will be 1st and goal Toronto from the 6-yard line. Clemens comes out of the game. Peter Gutsopoulos is the injured Hamilton player.
Well, he had to wade through a bunch of guards. A Pinball, what a player. This guy is so much fun to watch, and he's so gracious with the rocket. You know, normally a guy would say, hey, this guy has a watch that's more expensive than my car. He's got a car more expensive than my house. Why should I cheer for him? But Pinball doesn't say that. He said, this kid is going to be a great one. And I think Pinball's a great one for doing that.
Well, he wasn't quite so gracious when the Rockets signed with the Argos. Pinball suggested at the time that he'd like his salary renegotiated.
He only wanted about $50 a yard. He's worth it.
He was the outstanding player in the CFL last year, and he did get a new contract from the Argonauts. He was rewarded for his contribution of last year.
That's Mike Levenseller, the receiver coach, and he talked to Rocket yesterday and said, we got the whole offense in, just go deep.
Gillis fakes to Kelly, but he did not fool Tony Visco, who takes him out of bounds at the 9. 38 seconds remaining in the game.
Gillis wants to get this ball in. He wants to show that he's settled down a little bit. He's the kind of guy that they can rely on, and it's important because you don't know where Dunnigan is on the injury situation, and with the way Foggy runs around, it's important for Gillis to gain confidence in the coaches and get this one in.
It will be second.
Hamilton's got other ideas, of course.
Sorry, Joe. It will be 2nd and goal from the 9. Gillis lost 3 yards on that previous play. Here's the handoff to Clemens. He cuts it back and will try and score going the other way. Stopped at the initial line of scrimmage, the 6-yard line. He's reversed his field twice tonight, and each time he's drawn a crowd.
You know, this would drive a normal coach crazy, but Adam Reed is not a normal coach. He wants them to have fun, and he gives them that latitude, that ability to go out and just try to make a big play, and consequently, he gets a few more yards, but I don't think he had a chance to score on that play. But Adam Reed doesn't mind that. He wants them to go out, run around a little bit, have some fun. He said that's barnyard kind of football. He enjoys it, wants his players to have fun while they play.
Chomik with a field goal attempt from 13 yards. Andrew Murray will hold. And this one he puts through with just 2 seconds remaining. The Toronto Argonauts open the season with victories over 2 of their eastern rivals, the Ottawa Rough Riders and the Hamilton Ticats. But next Thursday night, they will face their toughest opponent of the 3, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, the defending Grey Cup champions, a team most football observers across the country feel they will be battling for the right to represent the East in this year's Grey Cup game that will take place in Winnipeg on the 24th of November. From the 35, this will be the final play of the ball game, barring penalty. The pass was intended for Ken Abraire, knocked down by Don Moan, and that will do it. So the Toronto Argonauts come up with a 2nd straight victory, knocking off the Hamilton Tiger Cats, Bruce McNall, John Candy, Wayne Gretzky, the owners here to watch the debut of the Rocket. He was held off the scoreboard, but he made his contribution in the Toronto Argonaut victory over the Hamilton Ticats.
At Skydome, the Rocket was launched at approximately 7:08 Eastern Time. Did a good job as part of the Argo offense, but that's what he was, part of it. So was Darrell K. Smith, and Smith is our Molson MVP. He's been starring for the Argos for a few years now, did so tonight with 2 touchdowns. This was the first of them on a pass from Ricky Foggy, as was the second. This one to make it 13-0 Toronto, and the Argos were on their way to victory. So I think the Argos would have to call this a perfect night. A crowd in excess of 41,000 here at the Skydome for the home opener. The Argos respond with a 21-point victory. Lots of excitement here this evening, unless you're a member of the Ticats, in which case it was frustration. A week tonight back at the Skydome as the Argos host the Grey Cup champion Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The Molson India center stage in Toronto this weekend. We'll have a half-hour preview special tomorrow night. Qualifying on Saturday, the race on Sunday, and the British Open on both days, rounds 3 and 4. Thanks for watching. Good night from Toronto.
This is CBC Television.